You love fitness, you love people, you're thinking about making it a career. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how you can become a successful, effective trainer in 2025. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So this is, I love this topic.
So do I.
Because obviously it's near and dear to our hearts. We were trainers.
It's our mission.
That's how we started in this industry. We've now been working in this industry for well over 2 decades, 2.5 decades. It still is one of my favorite things I've ever done. Love doing it. And it's actually, well, I say actually because a lot of people don't know this, it is an incredible potential career that people can embark on. But you got to do it right because if you don't do it right, it can actually become a very difficult career and have a very high turnover rate. So I brought up some statistics just to kind of illustrate the potential here, right? So when you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they will give predictions on growth for different career markets. Different industries. On average, any given career has about 8% growth over the next 10 years. Okay, so, well, they started in 2020. So 2020, 2030, but 8% growth on average. So that's most careers, okay? That's the average. The Bureau of Labor Statistics predicts 39% increase in employment growth for personal trainers.
That's a lot.
Really?
39%.
That's higher than I would have thought.
That is much bigger.
That has to reflect, Sal, the ever increasing epidemic of obesity, right?
Yeah.
And chronic disease and stuff like that, right? Like we seem to be struggling with that still. So I would imagine that that's where that number is coming from.
Yeah, when you read about this, what they'll say is 2 things. There's an aging population, so the largest segment of the population is aging, and they have expendable income. They need help with fitness, with strength training in particular, mobility. And then you hit the nail on the head, Adam. Chronic health issues, both physical and mental. This is another one a lot of people don't talk about. Mental health issues, things like anxiety and depression, all of those not looking so good. And when you look at the ways that we could treat them, right, the solutions, the cures, the medications, nothing compares to becoming more fit and healthy.
Yeah, we're finding our way back to what we knew to be true. And it's unfortunate that we've sort of lost our way. And you've seen, the numbers and the statistics of how unhealthy everybody is right now, and especially the mental state that a lot of these people are in. And it's frustrating because, all along it's like, this is something that we know to be true, and we have to like shout it at people to get their attention.
I also think that it falls under the kind of blue collar category where AI doesn't seem to be disrupting it the same way as it is disrupting tech, right? Like
it's only going to encourage its growth.
Especially when you like you brought up that
needs human connection,
not just chronic disease, but also the mental side. And that is like, it's a moving target, and it's so unique to the individual that an algorithm or an AI tool can't solve the problem. Like, this is where I think trainers will continue to be invaluable. It's just like, yeah, we can create all these sophisticated apps and AI to print off meal plans, but I mean, we've had the ability to give people meal plans for years. What have we been saying?
Right.
So that's not the way to have a successful client in the first place, is to just write a meal plan. If it was that simple, like, no client would need more than one session with me. We'd sit right down. They'd tell me, I'd do all their assessment and go, oh, this is your problem. This is where here, follow these calories, do these exercises. If it was that easy, then I wouldn't be needed. I wouldn't have been needed 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah, no, if people were computers, it would be that easy, but you were humans.
We're starving for human connection. I mean, that's what this whole pandemic taught us. It's like, we need each other.
It's coaching, it's guidance, it's working with the individual, and it's not about having the answers. That's part of it. That's a small part of it. A small part of it is knowing the right answers. The larger part of it is, how do you coach and guide people through this process to developing these relationships with fitness and diet and lifestyle that last them for the rest of their life. And working with a human coach is the best way to do it. Someone who's good. It's the best way to do it, and replacing that with AI isn't going to happen anytime soon. So this is a protected space as well, just like you said, Adam.
Yeah.
It's a very protected space, and the demand for it is increasing, as they're saying, 39%, precisely because society is not organized in a way to make you healthy. It's actually organized in a way to make you unhealthy. It's organized to make you sedentary. The food that is most popular, that's most produced, is not good for us. Education around health isn't great. And just living your life, just going to work and looking at entertainment and getting on social media, whatever, just doing the normal stuff, you are going to be unhealthy both physically and mentally. And that's why we continue to see that growth. So having a coach there that can help you navigate the world and teach you how to navigate the world and coach you along that process is absolutely invaluable.
You need that filter.
And the awareness around it continues to grow, which is why I think there's such high predicted growth rate, is because people are now becoming more aware, like, oh, I know fitness is good. I know eating healthy is good, but I know that I probably need to work with someone to be able to guide me through this process.
I actually think there's another factor that could cause this to go even further than 39%. And because I don't know if these were factored in when they did these numbers, but what we're learning about what's happening with GLP-1s is a bit the opposite of what you would have probably thought initially.
Agreed. Yeah.
I think initially people thought, oh my God, GLP-1s, everyone's going to use that, and that's just going to be the answer. Everyone's going to lose weight.
To solve the epidemic.
Yeah, it'll just solve it. But I'm like, no, I don't think that's what we're seeing. What we're seeing is more people that wouldn't have gone to the gym and worked out are opting to try these GLP-1s. What they're finding, if you do that and you don't hire a coach and trainer, you don't have the knowledge around nutrition, you don't strength train, then you end up losing as much muscle as you lose body fat, and you end up needing support and help anyways. And because it's attracting a different type of a client than what we're used to, I think that's only going to grow even faster.
It's going to bring more people to trainers.
Yes.
And actually, that's what they're finding. So the experts that we work with who've been working with the GLP-1s like Ozempic, Wegovy, what they're telling us is that the patients that are working with them aren't initially not interested in hiring a trainer. They use a GLP-1, they see some weight loss, and it's like a spark of inspiration. They say, you know what? I think I can do this. I'm going to hire a coach now. I'm going to hire a trainer and work with them. And the trainers that we work with, so we work with a lot of trainers and coaches. Obviously, we've had this podcast for over a decade. And there's a large segment or a significant segment of our audience are trainers and coaches, and they're letting us know, oh my God, I'm getting more clients as a result. So I agree with you, Adam. I think this growth is only going to continue to grow, and I think it's probably going to be faster than the 39% but even if it's stuck at 39%, even if it went down to 25% though,
It's still a lot.
this is a great potential career. Yeah. Now the challenge is that the problem is that there's a high turnover rate. So the ones that stick around and make it do well, the ones that stick around that figure out how to make this a career, it's incredibly rewarding. I mean, it's so rewarding to go to work every day and to have people show up because they want to be there, they want to work with you, and their goal is to improve themselves. Ultimately, it's to improve themselves, and you help them do that. And if you do a good job, it's so rewarding. You know how many people go to work every day and they don't get that feedback? They don't get that feedback that they're making the world a better place. Their boss isn't telling them every single day. They're not seeing the fruits of their labor turn into something like that. But when you're a trainer, I mean, I train people for a long time. Every single day when I work with clients, I would get that feeling, and it was so rewarding that I probably would do it for free if I'd never had to work again to some extent, right?
Much
That's how rewarding it is.
Crafting TPS reports.
Yeah, way better.
I mean, it's built-in purpose, and it's kind of like how we always talk about when you're helping a client, how important it is that you attach all the other things about fitness that are so important to keep them going forever. I think it's similar with coaches and trainers. Like, it's nice, okay, you have a job, you get paid for doing what you're doing, but it's like, oh, the fact that you are making the world a better place, you're changing lives positively, has this built-in purpose now that makes it rewarding and makes it greater than the income, makes it greater than the just showing up for the hours I have to service every day, which I think is a hack to being happy for a career, because
you have purpose.
I don't care how much money you make, sooner or later your lifestyle levels up to that, and it's kind of the same.
Yep.
Whether you're making 70 grand or 300 grand or $500,000 or $1 million, like, you just level up your lifestyle, and you still got to show up to work to get the income to pay for that lifestyle. And when you're doing something that you don't enjoy, or you have a hard time finding purpose in, it's really tough to stay motivated and happy.
That's right. And we talked about the mental health benefits. Now, the data on this is very, very supportive now. It's quite conclusive that one of the best ways to improve your mental health across the board is to become more fit and more healthy, more effective than any medical intervention for the common forms of mental health issues. It's as effective in the short term, the data will show, but long term, it trends better, obviously, because you don't get this down regulation of receptors, need to change the medication. Like, you just continue to grow and become better and more fit and more healthy. And even if your fitness doesn't improve, 10 years later, right, you're not going to always get stronger, more fit. The growth process through this discipline never ends. And so what this results in is clients showing up and getting happier and enjoying it more, and they love seeing you even more. The clients that I had for 10 years enjoyed training with me 10 years later more than they did in the first month. So it's so rewarding to do this. Now, again, I do want to reiterate, it has a high turnover rate because if you don't figure out how to do this right, it feels almost impossible to turn into a career. Now, if you do this right, you will have an incredible career. Now, the data shows that the average annual pay for trainers who stick around is between $42,000 to $75,000 a year. So you have a decent career if you're in the average. But I'm going to tell you this myself, having trained many trainers myself, you could do way better than that if you do things the right way. And I'm not talking about training, 16 people a day or something crazy. Like, you could do very well working normal hours, having the flexibility of building your own schedule and having a very stable client base.
You just got to learn how to maximize all your opportunities, all your efforts going forward. And that's something that you need direction. And so you need to, really find, the right plan and craft that out. So that way you make the hedges forward with that.
Yeah. So the first thing I would say to understand, to be successful, and we'll say in 2025, is to know your numbers. And now that sounds kind of vague, right?
So glad you said that.
This is big because, first off, to build any business, you need to know your numbers. You need to know how many opportunities turn into sales, which, what your margins are. You need to know how many people, let's say, your company needs to approach. Like, what's my return rate on my ad spend, for example, or how many leads that we need to generate in order to turn into this many clients. Like, the reason why I'm saying this is that most trainers, all the trainers that don't succeed, don't know this.
Yeah.
And most trainers, when they first get started, don't even know that they need to know this. What trainers tend to think is, I'm just going to get clients and I'm just going to train clients. And if I want more clients, I'm just going to work harder. And if I want to make more money, then that means I need to work harder and get more clients. Well, yeah, duh. Yeah. But that's like telling somebody that needs to lose weight, just eat less, right? And move more, right? It doesn't work. You need to know your numbers. So you need to figure out what does this look like? What does my number need to look like per month? And then how do I get to that? And you can boil it all the way back to how many people do I need to talk to versus, and how many does that turn into appointments, and how many of those appointments show up, and how many of those appointments actually hire me, and what's my average dollar per unit? And then I can just say, in order to make this much money, I need to talk to 5 people a day. Literally, you could get that precise with it. And if you apply it in that way, you will hit exactly what you need to earn. Now, this episode is brought to you by a sponsor, Vuori. Vuori makes athleisure wear that is amazing, looks good, feels good, comfortable, lasts a long time. And our link gives you the biggest discount you'll find anywhere. Go to vuoriclothing.com/mindpump. On that link, you'll get 20% off.
Yeah, it's so crazy that trainers have a hard time grasping this, yet they teach clients all day long how important it is that they understand their protein intake and their fat and their carbohydrates and their calories. If your client never learns their a calorie budget or maintenance or understand how many grams of protein they need to eat every day, they will not be successful. And most trainers know that. They know they have to teach that to their client. Yet they fail to teach themselves their show percentage, their close percentage, their average dollar per sale, and figure out their business model. It's like that is that is your protein, carbs, and fat to your business.
Yeah, those are the tangibles.
You have to figure that out. And not only do you have to figure that out to then have a plan, like Sal's saying, like, oh, I guess it takes me 10 people that I have to talk to for 5 people to get on an appointment. And of those 5 people that I booked on an appointment, only 2 of them are going to probably show up. And of the 2 of them, maybe only 1 of them will purchase something at an average of $500. And everybody is going to have different numbers there, but figuring out what yours is and then reverse engineering it, like you're saying. Then the next layer to that is, where do I go and improve? So some people are really good. They're approachable, they're charismatic, they can walk up to people in the mall, they can walk up to people in the gym and strike up conversation, and within 5 minutes, man, I like Sal. He's just a warm person. He seems really intelligent. So he does a really good job of convincing every person he talks to show up to their appointment, or at least book an appointment with them. And then he does a great job of following up on that person. So the 10 people he books, all 10 of them show up. But he gets really nervous when he talks about money, because he didn't get into this about money. He got into this to help people. And when it comes to selling, it's like, and so, 10 people show up, but then only 1 close. Okay, well, there's a huge opportunity for me to improve my skills with my presentation and communicating my services and building value in what I have to offer. So there's where I'm investing in myself, whether it is getting a mentorship who's going to help me there, or learning with courses, or whatever it takes. That's where I need to prove. So you got to know that stuff first before you even know how to work on yourself to be better.
So let's use the numbers that you originally gave to make this real simple. So you said fictional numbers. Talk to 10 people, and I will book 5 appointments. And out of those 5 appointments, 2 tend to show up, and I always tend to sell or close 50% of them. So 1 will buy, and my average per unit is $500. So boom, $500. If I talk to 10 people, I'm going to make $500.
Yes.
How many people do I need to talk to if I want to make $1,000?
Right.
20 people.
Right.
Okay. It's literally that easy. You've taken the mystery out of building your business. I can now say to myself, I'm making $500 a month. I want to make $1,500 a month. I'm going to go talk to 30 people. I need to talk to 30 people. And guess what's going to happen? It's going to turn into very close to $1,500.
Yeah.
And then, of course, what Adam said, it gets a little bit more detailed. I could just say, well, I'm only going to talk to 10. I don't want to talk to 20. But out of the 10, 3 people show up. Let me see if I can do a better job and get 6 people to show up. Now I've got $1,000 without having to talk to 20 people. To get more people
just
to show
tweak
up.
your tactics and figure out how to get them to show up. Like, that's going to make a big difference.
Right. Or I could just, obviously this might be an easy one. I could double my price. Now I get 1 and it's $1,000 instead of $500, right? So the point is, know your numbers. Know your numbers inside and out, because then what you do to build your business isn't some mystery. I could just literally every single day say, today my goal is to talk to X amount of people, because I know what that's going to turn into.
And any CEO or founder of a company 100% gets this. If you're a trainer who aspires to build a legitimate business one day and you want to scale beyond just yourself, you will have to learn this.
Yes.
So you may as well start now. And if you're definitely going to have a successful business, at one point you're going to start to piece this together. So it's always when I get in a room of trainers that I'm talking to, it's the first thing I always ask. And it is the number one thing that is not answered. Nobody knows what that is. And the rare time that I run into somebody who does, it's always the most successful trainer in the building.
Just a little side, just going off to the side here. If you're a fitness manager or a gym manager, this is an easy way to manage your fitness staff. You just figure this out for your trainers, and then you just tell your trainers, don't worry about how much your sales need to be. You just need to talk to 20 people. Bring me 20 names today, because you know the numbers for them. They do it. You'll hit those numbers. That's how effective this is.
This is how I figured that out. So I tell the story of when I first started at 24 Hour Fitness. I was the youngest. I was the least experienced. I was the least educated. So here I am managing a staff of 20 trainers that I don't have a lot to give them. I don't have experience to lean on to tell them all the stories of the clients that I've changed their lives. I don't have a lot of education behind me to talk about all the certifications, courses, and degrees that I have so I could make them smarter. The thing I did have was I understood business. I've been a serial entrepreneur since I was a kid, and I understood that I needed to know this. And it was very apparent to me that none of these trainers knew that. And so I leaned heavily into this direction of helping them understand this and grasp this. That was why I was successful. It was not because I was a great trainer. It wasn't because I was super knowledgeable. That stuff came later with experience and the education and the experience of training clients and certifications I got later. But early on, that wasn't it. It was this ability to be able to help trainers peer and to distill it down to not feel like this salesy money talk and just, I got to meet 5 people. And that's exactly how I held them all accountable, is we would figure that out about each individual trainer that worked for me. And then I would walk up to them every day and be like, Justin, did you meet your 8 people today? Sal, did you meet your 6 people today? Because you would, and I would allow them, you tell me how much you want to make. You want to make $5,000 a month? You make $10,000 a month? You tell me. I'm not going to tell you what your lifestyle, your goals, or your income should be. You tell me, and then I will help you figure out what it takes to do that. And then as your boss, I will help you, hold you accountable to the daily work that's necessary to do that. And I'm not going to pressure you about sales and closing. My job is to help you get better at that, which I will. But all I really want you to do is to do the work, which is go talk to 5 people.
Great. And that brings us to the next thing, which you just mentioned, which is learn sales. This is a bad, dirty word for personal trainers. And I get it, right? You're a trainer. You want to help people. I didn't do this to sell anything. I hate salespeople. I just want to help people. Well, I hate to break this to you, but as a trainer, you're going to be selling your clients all the time. And I don't mean selling them to buy things. That's true too, because they need to hire you.
Come back.
You need to sell them on changing their lifestyle. You need to sell them on changing behaviors. You need to sell them on showing up. You need to sell them on why it's okay that the scale didn't go down this month because they got stronger or because they feel better or because you need to take a break. You need to understand sales skills, or to put it differently, you need to understand how to communicate effectively. Now, ultimately, this does turn into a more successful business from a monetary standpoint, because when you sit down to talk to a potential client, if you know how to present and you know how to close and you know how to sell, you're going to be far more successful. But make no mistake, if you're selling nothing for a dollar amount, all you're doing is training people, you're selling them constantly. Remember, you're coaching people on a day-to-day basis on why they need to change the way that they're living. And the way to do that is through strong, effective communication skills, through convincing them effectively over a period of time. So sales skills are extremely valuable. This, for me, when I manage gyms, the majority of the training that I do with my trainers was this. This was a majority.
Yeah.
Like when we did our weekly trainings, it was sales trainings, because the return on it was huge, both in the client's results and success
and retention of the trainers
and the trainer.
You can't keep doing it if you're not bringing any money home.
That's right.
And I love that when I used to work for Adam and he'd point out exactly how to manipulate my paycheck. It's like, how do you want to increase? What's your number you want to bring home this month? And then we'd come up with that number of how many people I'd bring in and, really go through those numbers. And I just feel like trainers are scared to do that because we're so focused on helping and servicing clients. And you do want to obviously provide the best service possible, be educated. It's going to make the sales process a lot easier because you're going to have a lot of good answers for them and a lot of direction and competency. But to be able to communicate that, keep them coming back, that's what keeps you going.
It's so weird how sales got such a dirty reputation. I don't know, is it because of the 80s and 90s and early 2000s of car salesmen and like stock guy? Like, is that where
it's because
it's a visual
lack of integrity? People think, oh, you're trying to trick me.
It's just it has a really bad rep. But you say it so well when you explain it as all sales is effective communication. And the reason why you spent most of your time doing that, and I did too, or teaching that, was because I don't care if you had all the certifications and all the degrees. If you can effectively communicate, you're no better than the trainer that doesn't know shit.
Right.
So it applies as much to that trainer. It's not as simple as like, because you could be really good at the science and understanding how to help the client in front of you, but if you can't get somebody in front of you, it doesn't do shit.
Yeah. And if they don't hire you,
and so you have to be a good communicator, and so. That is why why all the time I spent was teaching sales, because even the really educated trainer wasn't necessarily a good trainer if they didn't know how to communicate that information to the people.
Yeah. So, it's funny. I used to say this too, when I would have a group of trainers, especially when I was a new manager to these trainers, I would say something like, how easy would it be for you guys to sell a home here in San Jose for $5,000? If I gave you guys a house and said, sell this for $5,000, how easy would it be for you to sell it? And they'd say, oh my God, I'd sell it right away because the value is so huge, right? Houses in San Jose, or even a crappy one's $1 million. So $5,000, I could sell that, no problem. I said, okay. That's because you know the value. I said,
I'd be skeptical as hell.
Yeah, what's in that house?
Who owned this house? How many ghosts are in here?
Now, if what we understand about health and fitness, how much it could change someone's life, right? There's almost nothing in your life that won't improve if you become more fit and healthy. We know this. So the value is tremendous. The problem is the person sitting across from the desk from you doesn't really understand. They kind of get it, but they don't know what it's going to take. They don't even know if it's possible, what it's going to look like. But you do, right? You have that understanding. And now imagine if you could just take that understanding from your mind, plug it into their mind, they'd buy from you right out the gates, right away. If I could just take my brain, plug it into theirs for a second, then they go, oh my God, done deal. Let me hire you. I'm going to train with you for the next 3 years. Well, unfortunately, we can't do that. We have to use words. That's effective communication. If I can communicate this effectively, that person will get the value of what I'm selling, and then they'll hire me, and it's a done deal. And so sales skills allow you to do that. And so you need to practice your presentation, practice asking for money, practice overcoming objections. It is a skill that you can develop. I know some people also, this is another thing that people kind of have a misunderstanding around. People tend to think that sales is something, or sales skills is something you either have or you don't. Now, it's true, there are some people that are more talented than others, but it is a skill you can completely develop.
Oh, definitely. Mm-hmm.
So don't just think to yourself like, I'm not good at that, so therefore I'm never going to be good at it. No, I've taken the worst salespeople and gotten them to be somewhat effective. And then I've taken talented people and turned them into absolute superstars. Yeah. So this is a skill you can develop. It just takes practice and knowing that it's really valuable. Next up is to educate yourself. Now, this one I don't tend to need to convince trainers and coaches. At least with this one, most trainers and coaches know like this is important. But part of the reason why this is important, okay, the obvious. Number one is it you know more. So you know more, you have more tools in your tool belt, you become a better trainer or a better coach. But here's the other side of it that a lot of people don't realize, which is continuing to educate yourself keeps you passionate about fitness. It's funny because every time I'd have my group of trainers go do some certification, they would all come back, and sure enough, on the workout floor, all my trainers are applying what they just learned on their clients. And they're excited about it and passionate about it, and all the clients are excited about it as well. Yeah. Wow, I'm doing this new, stretch technique. I'm doing this new correctional exercise thing. I'm doing this new whatever because my trainers learned it. So educating yourself isn't just about becoming better and knowing more. That's a big part of it. It's also about keeping that passion that you have alive, because as you continue to do this, you will lose that passion if you don't learn more of these skills. So educating yourself is extremely important. It needs to be done on a very regular basis.
Educate and apply. So this is the fastest way to avoid imposter syndrome. I think maybe the number one thing I hear from trainers that when they first get started is this: how do you avoid imposter syndrome? And what that comes from is a lack of confidence in your ability. What that comes from is a lack of effort, work, and time put in of doing the work. Yep. You will not have imposter syndrome if you've gone and done it.
Yeah.
So first of all, it's okay to not know because you haven't done something. So it's okay to admit that. So that's another reason why you have people that have imposter syndrome, because they're lying, because they're pretending. They're pretending to be something they're not, or they're pretending they know something that they don't know. And if you don't, okay, so first step is, I don't know, I'll find out. Go find out, go apply, you now know. So the next time someone's asked that, you won't have imposter syndrome, you do it. So the fastest way to get through that is to educate and apply and learn and grow and keep doing that, and you won't have that. And when you run into the situations, which by the way, 20 years deep in this, we just had a talk with somebody recently where you'll hear me still say that. I don't know, that's above my pay grade, or I'd send you over here because I'm not sure about that. That never ends. Never 20 years of certifications and practicing and learning, and kind of a pretty smart guy when it comes to this space. I still will say that. You can't be afraid to say that. And then what happens is I then go learn, and then I go reach out, or I go learn from somebody who does know. And the next time when that question comes, I won't have imposter syndrome. 1, because I didn't lie the first time. 2, I will have the answer because I've experienced it and I've applied. Yep. So go do that. You won't have imposter syndrome.
The most valuable places to educate yourself are going to be courses that teach you about business, coaching techniques, and correctional exercise. So there's lots of certifications. They're all going to be valuable. and some are more valuable than others depending on the space that you're in, right? If you're training primarily athletes, well then it's going to be more athletic minded type, education courses. But generally speaking, courses on building business, courses on coaching and working with people, correctional exercise, in my experience, is valuable in all spaces of fitness, whether it's high-level athletic performance or rehab or general population. Correctional exercise, extremely valuable. Then there's national certifications, which, especially if you work in a big box gym, require you to get. And then if you're in one of those places that has national certs or requires national certs, you want to find courses that give you CEUs or credits to maintain your national certifications. And oftentimes 1 or 2 courses a year will allow you to do that. But educate yourself regularly. Every single year you're a trainer, you should take or do some course every year. I know they say every 2 years, but I used to tell my trainers every year, do at least one. And the best trainers that work for me would do them like twice a year.
By the way, that's tax deductible too.
Yeah, it's your business.
Yes, so that's in educating yourself on your business like that. So certifications and courses are something that you can write off on your taxes. A lot of trainers, for some reason,
when you're doing your plan for each year, you should literally, part of your plan for the year is, 2025, what am I going to learn this year? Do that every single year. You'll become.
I remember when we first met Ben Greenfield.
Reinvest.
Ben Greenfield had a dollar amount that he's just like, every year I minimum spend $60,000 a year. Obviously, he's at another level than most trainers are, but maybe that starts off with 500 or 1,000 or 5,000 for you. But yeah, he had a dollar amount that every year I invest at least that much into my education and learning every year. That's
awesome.
Smart.
Next, and this right here is just always consistently understated. And I think this has to be one of the most valuable things I ever did for myself and I ever saw for trainers that work for me. And that's to find a mentor. I mean, there is almost nothing that I actually, in fact, I can't even think of something that will compare to a good mentor at improving your skills and getting you on the fast track to success, like having a mentor. So what does this look like? Do you just walk up to someone and say, will you mentor me? I mean, maybe, but really what it usually looks like is you go find someone, maybe a great trainer or a chiropractor or a massage therapist or a physical therapist or someone who does nutrition, maybe a certified nutritionist, somebody that does a phenomenal job. You go up to them, you offer to work for them or usually work for them for free. And so I would find people and I'd say, hey, I'd love to, for 10 hours a week, let me come be around you, work for you, and the reason why I want to do this is I just want to be around you so I can just hear and listen to what you're doing. And if you want to teach me something, that's fine. But I just want to be around you because I need to learn some of these skills or I want to be able to communicate some of these things. I mean, I had the opportunity, I had my own wellness studio. At the time when I opened it, I was a personal trainer, just straightforward personal trainer. I knew strength training, I knew endurance training, I knew macros, that was about it. But I had all these incredible people working in my studio that worked from different modalities. And over the next 15 years, they didn't realize it. I don't even know if I told any of them, but I learned from watching and listening to the acupuncturist, the massage therapist, to the physical therapist that all worked within my studio. They all mentored me and really developed me into the voice you hear now on the podcast. So if you're a trainer, you want to be successful, find somebody and find a way to work for them for free typically and watch what happens.
You didn't have to like them.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have one?
Yeah, I had somebody that I knew how successful this individual was and what he was charging his clients. And I was obsessed because I was like, I prided myself in my education background and just the type of high level service I was providing my clients and the success rate they had. But meanwhile, this guy's making like crazy money and he's actually getting people to buy his training at this price point. I'm like, okay, so I just sort of frenemied him and deconstructed his business. I ended up doing some business with him because there has to be a mutually beneficial partnership on some level, even if it's like, I'm not like a total predator, seeking out his business, but I ended up working with him for quite a bit. And taught me how to build and develop my website, how to optimize it, how to run Google ads, like how to do all these things business wise that I just was lacking in terms of, being an independent trainer, learning all this stuff on my own. But it was huge for me to learn that and go through that process, and did that all just, begrudgingly, because I had to hang out with the guy. I didn't really like the guy. But I had to do this for the business because I knew that this was going to benefit me overall.
A lot of my story and experience when talking about the mentorship resonates with Jasmine Starr's story, who she shared recently in the interview that we just did, where she has this, and I had the same mentality as she did, which is just get me in the room with that person. Just let me be around them. Let me watch how they present themselves, how they carry themselves, the way they work, the way they manage their time, what they do every day. And I'll pay to be in that room. I mean, that's how she is. She's like, I don't care what I got to pay.
That's the move.
If someone is doing something that I want to do, and they're doing it at a level higher than I am or better than I am, I'll pay whatever it takes to get in that room because I can emulate. I can deconstruct, I can watch, and I can learn, and then I can apply. And the value that it's her story is incredible when you think about what she came from. I mean, the fact that she had never even photographed before, and the girl builds a multi-million-dollar, business that then eventually within just a couple of years, people are paying her tons of money to learn from her. That's all from her hacking into that. I think it's so, so valuable. So not only, the cheap way to do it is, okay, let me find somebody, befriend them, kind of like Sal said, or can I add value to their life or service them, whatever like that. But pay for it if you have to. If someone is doing something that you want to be able to do, pay to get in that room, pay to be around that person, and watch and learn everything that they do.
This is one of the reasons why we do the free webinars that we've been doing every other month for trainers and coaches. So although it's always most effective to work with someone in person who can mentor you, you can use us as mentors. You can listen to the podcast. And then we do these webinars that are specifically to trainers and coaches. They're free. They're going to be free forever. It's trainerwebinar.com. And every other month we teach coaches and trainers something about becoming more successful. I think the next one is March 4th, and it's about making money using social media. So the topic there will be about social media. But we have them every other month. You sign up, trainerwebinar.com, and then you just attend this free course, and you can use us as a mentor. But again, I do want to reiterate, the best mentor is going to be someone you can work with in person. Finally, build a network. So I used to love painting this picture for trainers, because when I figured this out for myself, man, this was when I became so invaluable to my clients that my drop-off rate when my clients became zero. Like literally, I had clients that stayed with me for 10 plus years, and I never had to get a new client again because I had built so much value with them over this right here. And it's building a network. So I envision myself as the fitness and health manager. So I'm a trainer. My personal expertise is strength training, cardiovascular training, flexibility training. I can work with nutrition. I can help guide you through those things. So that's my personal, that's what I know personally. But I also looked at myself as this health manager, meaning I also made relationships with people that had expertise that was outside of what I knew. So I knew an acupuncturist, a functional medicine practitioner. I worked with a chiropractor. I worked with a bodywork specialist. I knew a meditation expert. I knew a therapist and counselor who worked with body dysmorphia and eating disorders. I worked with a doctor that did hormone testing. And so I had this network of people. So I became this maven for my clients. So my client would come to me, and because they saw me, they saw me as their health ambassador essentially, and they'd say, "Oh my God, I'm noticing this thing." Now, if I didn't have the solution with the tools that I knew, which was mainly exercise and diet, I knew somebody that did, and so I would say, "Oh, I got somebody for you who's really good. Let me introduce you to so and so. I think they can help you out. Let me introduce you to this other person who I think you can help you out. Or I think these two people can," and they just would start coming to me, and then they start bringing people to me, so I could refer to other people. Once I became that for my clients, that was it. Game over. I became, like I said, their health ambassador for the whole family. This is so valuable and I think trainers are uniquely positioned to be able to do this. I don't think other modalities can do this as well as a trainer. I think a trainer does this really well.
Understand how you're killing two birds with one stone here too. Because imagine you're referring people to doctors, chiropractors, acupuncturists, functional medicine doctors, and you're constantly sending leads to these people who you respect that are more knowledgeable about this area than you are. And how easy is it for you to get a bit of their time or ask for their help because you're sending them business? So now you have built-in mentorship.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that half of, like you said, your knowledge has come from building those relationships with people. Well, of course they're going to sit down and spend time with you. You just sent 3 clients to them last month. They just made a ton of money off of you for nothing, like asking for them to bend your ear for an hour or bend their ear for an hour so you can ask them some questions or learn about what they're doing with your clients. Makes you a better trainer for who you're servicing. You're learning more. It also builds your network. It also then builds in a mentorship in a field, in an area that's directly related and connected to you. And shit, heaven forbid you continue to do that really well, and those people sort of
send you leads
the other direction.
Oh, the best leads. I became known as like the personal trainer for doctors and chiropractors and massage therapists, whatever, because of that process. And it was like I spent $0 in advertising. Zero. I did nothing. And if I ever had an opening, it was very easy. I would let them know I got an opening. Oh, I got somebody. Cool. Let me send them your way. This is extremely valuable if you want to build a sustainable, stable career, because that's the other challenge sometimes with trainers is they feel like their income is sporadic and it doesn't feel stable. No. You will build a very stable career when you build that. When you build that network, especially in your area, that's it. Done deal. You're a personal trainer for as long as you want to be until you retire. So very, very important to do that.
Got some questions here.
Okay.
The first one is, what are the best certifications?
Okay, so great questions. There's specific ones for.
Are we counting ours there?
Yeah, I think
of course
ours has got to be at the top because it's specifically about how to build a business. Like what we're talking about here and then some in detail is what we do with our course. Our course is specifically about building your business, about being a better coach, being more effective. Totally. So our course, and now our course gives you CEUs. So if you take our course, it's worth 1.9 CEUs with national certification. So now it's officially recognized as formal education.
If I could give you the triple threat, in my opinion, or the 3 best in this order too, it would be the NASM, then NASM CES, then our course.
Yeah.
Because the foundational NASM that you get CPT gives you a really, really good basis and foundation for training all clients. CES, corrective exercise specialist, is literally what probably 80% of your clientele is going to be. And your ability to be able to teach that puts you on a whole nother level of being an effective trainer. And then thirdly, ours, which is really heavily focused on the sales, lead generation, business, communication to clients, retention, re-sign stuff, like that side, which obviously
all
if
the
you're going to
applicable stuff.
Yeah, and that to me, 1, 2, 3, that sets you up. There's a lot of other great specialty stuff out there, and we can refer a ton of different cool certifications. But those 3 right there set you up to be a very good trainer.
Starter pack, yep.
Is a degree necessary or valuable?
Degrees are great. The problem with them is they take a long time and they're valued as much as a national certification, which takes a lot less time and will give you as much applicable information as you get from a degree. So unless you're going to be working in a field that requires a degree, which personal training does not, I tell trainers, just get national certifications and get experience. If you're going to be a physical therapist or you're going to work in some corporate setting that requires a degree, then yeah, go for it. But otherwise, no. It's more expensive, takes more time, and you'll get much further because of the time and the application with just regular certifications.
Yeah, it's hard to not sound biased because of our path in this situation, but it's still hard for me to recommend the degree to somebody who knows they're going to be a personal trainer or know they're going to go that direction. Because obviously, if you're going to go the physical therapist route, you need it. And so
exactly.
then it's invaluable. You have to. It's incredible.
You have to do it.
And then that makes a lot of sense. But for the time and money spent to go through a 4-year degree, say in kinesiology, sports medicine, that direction, the amount of certifications and courses that you could get in those 4 years will end up being extremely more valuable. Even if you just got like 3, which 3 national certs in 4 years is very easy to do. I mean, I know
you
trainers
do 3 in a year.
Yeah, you do 3 in a year easily. and that the education that's applicable to the people you'll be helping will be far greater than that 4-year degree that you really only spend the last, what you say, Justin, year and a half on things that are really applicable to clients.
Yeah,
I mean, the
related
first
to your field.
general ed is like the first half of that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's courses, biomechanics, and there's anatomy, physiology. It does help to translate in terms of understanding certification, lingo, and jargon, and all that kind of stuff. But to your point, is it necessary? If this is going to be your career path, it's not necessary for a personal trainer, in my opinion.
Which is better, a big box gym or a private studio?
If you're getting started, especially if you're getting started, a big box gym, you're dumb not to start in a big box gym. Okay, just straight up, big box gym spends all the money on advertising, provides you with all the leads, and at any given moment, you can walk into your big box gym and have a bunch of people working out that don't have a trainer. Like, that's the hardest thing to do when you're building your career as a personal trainer, is getting people in front of you and then getting people to hire you. They take care of that with a big box gym. So I know there people will, they take a big chunk of your pay.
Yep.
Worth it. And the type of people you're introduced to, the variety of people will make you better faster because of the volume. So especially when you're getting started.
Let me tell you why so many trainers make this mistake. And I know I'm going to offend a bunch of people, but it's the truth, that they don't understand business. The only reason why you would go to a private gym over a big box gym first is because you don't understand business. You see, I could go to a private gym and make all the $60 an hour that client is paying. Therefore, oh my God, that's so much better than going and working for that big box gym where they take 40 of my $60, which is crazy. But that's because you have no idea how much it costs to run a 30,000 square foot facility that's open 24 hours, that spends $1 million a month on advertising to put 2,000 plus people in front of you every single day. Your $40 you gave up for that hour is worth that 1,000 times. And especially to go get the practice and the reps that you're going to get with that type of volume, that type of leads in front of you. So don't look at your first 3 years of your career as your earning phase. It's your learning phase. And you are going to learn way faster by working at a big box gym where you get way more reps, way more leads.
Yeah, you go to a private studio when you know what you're doing. Yes. You know how to build your business.
Once you have the experience,
you have a wait list. You have a wait list. You demand. You can demand what you want. You tell people no because you have so many clientele. That's when you're ready for that.
Yep. But until then, like we've said this before, if you're at a big box gym and you're not the top trainer, don't even think about going to a private studio.
Sink or swim.
They all fail. I've had a lot of trainers before leave a big box gym because they're like, oh, I can make so much more. And then they all fail because they don't know how to get the leads. They don't know how to build their business. It's very difficult. They don't have the systems.
That's one of the hardest parts about building a business, and they take care of that for you. So if you couldn't figure out how to be the best in a facility where they take care of the hardest part, you thinking you're going to go take on the hardest part and be more successful is silly. Yeah. And so, go become a trainer at a big box gym.
Go crush that.
Go become the top 3, top 10% of the staff. Then maybe do you go off to a private studio?
100%. Look, if you want to learn from us, we give free webinars just to coaches and trainers. March 4th is making money using social media. That's what we're going to talk about on March 4th. Sign up, trainerwebinar.com, but we're having them every other month. So all year long, free webinars, but you have to sign up, trainerwebinar.com. All right, I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. 30% body fat. For men, this is way too high. This is actually a bit high for women as well. So in today's episode, we're talking about how you can go from 30 to 10. What is 10% body fat? This is when you have a visible six-pack. Can you go from 30 to 10%? Yes, it's possible, but not if you guess along the way. So we're going to talk about how you can do that in today's episode.
Now, there's a huge range, right, of like body types.
Yes.
Some people can run a little bit heavier or a little bit higher body.